All right, welcome back. So I've decided that I don't like doing intros, especially when it's a day like today and it's raining like crazy and it's probably all you're gonna hear half the time. Instead, I'm gonna ask you a question because I'm sure you've looked at the thumbnail and you've already figured out what we're doing today. So my question for today is, what's something that you want to be really good at? I realize I've built up a various set of skills. None of them are really honed to be, to a sharp edge, right? I know a lot of stuff and I have a whole lot of surface knowledge without practical application. And I think the one skill I really want to get good at is metalworking. Like the heavier stuff, the thin stuff, everything in between. Learning to hammer on panels, take out dents, form flanges, do brake work accurately, bend tubing, all that kind of stuff, that steel fabrication stuff. I really like all the different aspects of that. And I think that's one thing that I would really like to get good at. This is a Ford 8.8-inch rear end. It's out of a 1998 Explorer, 31 spline axles, 373-to-1 gear set, and these tubes are 3¼ inch diameter. This is a fairly heavy-duty axle for what it is. It's not huge. It's for a sport utility vehicle, but people have been using these in Mustangs and Rangers and all kinds of builds for a long time now. Unfortunately, a lot of them are gone. That Cash for Clunkers program back in whatever year it was, early 2000s something, the Ford Explorer was one of the highest, or is the highest, traded in vehicle for Cash for Clunkers on record. And it was well known as a good swap for a lot of other axles for a long time. So people have been buying them for a long time. Then the supply went away, and that was 20 some years ago. It's a little tougher to find them now, but you can still find them if you want one. The thing I like about this, and why it's going to work well for the Mustang, is you can see, I think you can see that the differential is offset. The driver's side is 2 7/8 inches longer than the passenger side, which for this car, if I take that 2 7/8 out and re-weld the tube and put a passenger side axle shaft in here, it fits. It matches up with those wheels and tires I bought. It's gonna be perfect. Like, you can't get any closer to what it needs to be between those wheels and this axle. It's just gonna fit, the tires are gonna fit flush to the outside of the body. So what we need to do right now is prep this thing so we can get ready to cut that section out and re-weld it. As you can see, there's no axles in it right now. We took that out already. I should probably take all this junk off the end. This is the park brake, dust shield. Set it down on these ears, I think, for the caliper. Ugh, it's kind of crusty. I'm really not looking forward to this part, the cleanup part, because it's been sitting and it was in a car in a field for who knows how long before I bought it. So yeah, maybe we can just get the ends off. I'm actually surprised that came loose. I mean, we're going to replace all these pieces with new stuff because brakes are not something to mess around with, but I don't really want to ruin it. Come on now. Okay, so what else is holding this junk on here? It's probably just stuck, right? Dust cover, caliper bracket. What's that? Oh, there we go. Can you see that? There's a rivet. One there, and one here. There's nothing on this side. They must be blind rivets. They're just holding this on the end here. Yeah, it should just come off like that. Why doesn't that one want to do it? Probably because I can't get in there. There it goes. If you ever have to drill out rivets, just try and get a bit that's just a little bit bigger than what you think the shank is, and just drill the head off. And then after you get it apart, let's just take it apart. Then you can come in and see the true size of the rivet and drill out the rivet material out of the hole. And hopefully not mess it up. Yeah, look at all that. Yeah, we want to clean all that up. I'm pretty sure we're going to reuse the dust covers. But we might not need them because the wheel is so deep, it's going to be over this. And because the wheel is deep, it's going to restrict airflow to the brakes. So maybe we'll leave this off. We'll have to decide that in the future. All right, so driver's side is disassembled and we're ready to clean that tube. The dust cover came off without much problem, like you saw. I figured I should take wheel bearing out, take the seal out, so we can get a good view in there, make sure there's nothing strange happening in there. Of course, I don't have a bearing puller, so I grabbed a piece of flat bar, drilled a hole in it, and welded a nut to the back side real quick. Just tacked it on there and stuck it in past the bearing, flipped it up. Long bolt, piece of angle iron with a hole in it for the outside brace, and just gunned it with the cordless impact. And it came right out. That worked really, really good. So I'm happy with that. It was like a 10-minute tool, right? If you don't have it, make it. Now, once I got to that point, I realized, oh, I can just knock the caliper bracket off and clean it that way. I was starting to like scrape around the bracket and where it holds onto the housing, and I'm like, I just take the bracket off. So just one bonk with the hammer, it came right off. So I just took that bracket, plopped it on the ground here in the grinding room with the gravel floor. It's awesome. Don't have to worry about what junk gets in the gravel, doesn't matter. Sprayed it down with some super clean. Thanks again, Mike. And we're gonna let it sit for a little bit. We'll check it out. We might sandblast that because there's a little bit of rust on it. And we might sandblast that other end because I found rust around this plate that's welded on the end of the tube. So we'll have to consider that in the future. So next up, I'm going to take apart the passenger side. Same routine as before. And we'll get this end cleaned up. This end actually looks better. I don't know why that end was so dirty, but this end does not have as much stuff caked up on it. So it should be easier, right? Right? So I'm over here cleaning my hands with one of these scrubs, shop scrubs, and the parts are soaking in some super clean over there. And I'm wondering how much of this dirt was brake dust, because I was scraping and using a wire brush to get the worst of it off. After a few minutes, I decided I should probably turn on my exhaust fan. I'm going to think twice about that next time before I just go scraping stuff off of brake brackets. Now let's go in here and see how they look. Now mind you, this is only a scrub, a scrape and a little bit of wire brush work, and I plopped them on the floor and sprayed them with super clean. And we'll look at this first caliper bracket that you saw earlier, and then in a few minutes we'll check out the other parts and see how they are. Maybe they're going to need another coat. Maybe I can just finish cleaning them and, you know, paint them or something. I don't know. Let's check it out. All right, so I don't know where the can went, but I'm pretty sure you're supposed to wear gloves while you're doing this. But let's see. Wow, look at that. It's pretty impressive stuff for just spraying it on there and letting it sit. I will go get my little spray bottle of water and, well, yeah, like I should have scraped the thick stuff off of those spots better, but let me go get my spray bottle and we'll just blast it with some clean water and see how they look. You know, that's not bad. I'll probably hit them one more time. It's easy to do. Just spray it and let it sit. Holy smokes, just throwing stuff on the floor. All right, while we're waiting for those to dry, let's quickly talk about this little monster right here. So I put the oil pan on there, and I took a 3D scan just by using cell phone pictures. It's called photogrammetry. There's a few different pieces of software out there that you can do that with, and I found one that's got a free trial. So I just scanned this guy and I put it into my current model of the front end of this thing, and I put it down pretty low. The scan was not great quality. I didn't get quite enough pictures of the whole engine. There's lots of holes and surfaces, and it's kind of like a squashed potato, but it was close enough to figure out that the oil pan rail will probably be below the top of the frame rail. And I was trying to find some pictures of Mustangs with, you know, like a front shot of the engine sitting in there, like if someone had the radiator out, but I couldn't find one. So I'm not quite sure where the crank center line is compared to, you know, a 302 or 351 or 289, any of those engines, right? But it sits really low. So I'm pretty excited about that. Now, one thing I was worried about is that maybe I squandered an opportunity to take these ears and bring them out farther to integrate motor mounts to them. But the engine will not line up right with this cross member. It will sit back a little bit. The engine mounts will be behind most of the cross members, so I think we'll just be making a tube that comes from somewhere up here down, you know, over and down, because the motor mount bushing will be like right in here somewhere. It'll be fairly high up. So like I said, I was worried that I squandered an opportunity here just to make these longer, but I don't think it would have worked anyway. So hopefully soon we will be able to do something with this. But right now, like you can see, we are working on the axle for the back end. So let's just go get back to that. I think these have cleaned up pretty nicely. I'll probably hit them with vinegar. I'll come out tomorrow when they're totally dry. We'll get the fan going and blowing on this and dry them out really good. But I think there's enough surface rust and stuff. No, there's really not grease left. That's good, but a little bit of surface rust and junk, and we'll probably hit those with some 30% vinegar, and that will be our final cleanup, at least for now. And I will put all this stuff together. We have the bits and pieces from the driver's side and passenger side. I was going to throw these away, but they really don't wear. Like, unless someone leaves the parking brake on, they don't really wear. So we're going to clean them up and see how they are. Maybe we'll just keep them. It's just a parking brake. I don't even know if you can call it an emergency brake. I don't know if they're capable of stopping a vehicle like that. We might get some new bolts. Yeah, but these pieces I'll keep. I don't want to have to try and source these and buy new ones. Springs, maybe. I don't know. Now the next thing is cleaning up the rest of this tube. You can see we got plenty of junk here. Like I said, there's some rust in these spots. But the rest of the tube is pretty good. The center section, the housing, is not too bad. Sometimes these look like they have a ½ inch of grease and dirt and mud packed onto them, but this doesn't look too bad. So the next thing we're going to tackle is cleaning up the axle and the housing, marking out our spot right here where we're going to remove a section of tube, and we're going to probably be taking brackets off that we don't need. I don't think we really need to do anything else. We may have to relocate this vent. Not a big deal. Now, just in case I didn't tell you why I wanted to use this, because I don't remember what I said at the very beginning of this video, this axle is really easy to shorten. I think I did say this. Yeah, did I say this? You just take a little bit out of the driver's side tube and get 2 passenger side axles, and you're done. You don't have to order custom axles. You don't have to mess with it a whole lot. So it's a very popular swap. People like these for their Mustangs and Rangers and Jeep Cherokees and a whole bunch of stuff. So let's get cracking.